Well, thank you, Mr. Gupta, for sharing about that. Now, coming to Kailash Gupta as a leader, right? Now, from the last couple of years, you've been in leadership positions in various stints across companies, right? So, what do you think are the most important values you demonstrate as a leader?
It is leading by example all the time. So, if you come to the honesty, because we deal with 700 crore cash every year. Because cinema collects 50% of their revenue as a cash. So 700 crore cash, so you have to lead by example all the time. So I try and demonstrate always. People talk about lot about on integrity issues. I talk about a lot, to how a finance person should work. Because finance is the heart and soul for any company. And when you are handling such a cash, it means you have to be more careful. So always try and see that, one is the delegation, which is very important. Second is that following of all the SOPs in the company. And we have created in such a manner where your checks and balances are there, controls are there, and that is being monitored every day basis, so that you don't lose on a control part. Second, I would say, I allow people to take the decision. And that's very important nowadays, because when you delegate the work, most of the time people don't delegate the authority. But I believe in delegating the authority, because if you are not creating a successor in your organization, then you are in a problem, because your growth will be in a problem. Because if you create a successor, what will happen is you will be more free, and those people are taking decision. Those people are doing work for you, and they are ready to do everything for you, because you are able to take care of those people. They also feel freedom, because they feel that they are taking the decision. They know one thing very clear. And I also know it by heart of heart that if somebody take a 10 decision, there will be always a 2 or 3 decision which will be wrong. But if you are able to stand with them on those decisions, that okay, nothing, no problem, even the failure is accepted, then the next time, they will take 10 more decision, and that 9 will be right. So I think it is important that you delegate not only the responsibility but also the authority to the person, and they will feel empowered. And this is what I've seen in various companies, wherever, a lot of people follows me today, who were my team member, and today they are sitting equal to me at some places they are sitting in vice president or second line in command. And they are very successful because of this reason.
Right. Interesting. Great. So, what would you say is your greatest strength and weakness?
Greatest strength, I would say, is the numbers. I'm a very number driven guy and a number savvy person. So that I mean that's one thing. Second is I am a friend, being a leader, for most of the people who are working with me directly and indirectly. I follow open door policy, where anybody can walk in any time in my cabin. No need to take any appointment or meeting or something. So we carry a formal and informal culture. I always believe in informal all the time, because that helps me a lot in getting the real issues which is on the ground. So a lot of feedback comes on these Saturday meetings which I'm talking about, a time with my own team.
Right.
And I always try. And one good thing is that I am a very strong decision maker actually. So because that is what I feel that my team should also do. I take a decision right or wrong sometime. You can't decide every time that you will be right on it. So I am very good in taking the decision on the spot. And a lot of people, across the function feel that I am a solution provider, because I take the decision which other people are not able to. So that's something which is a biggest strength to me. What irritates to me sometimes that people comes and talk to me as if I don't know anything, and they try and I know that he's lying actually, and still is trying to show the smartness. So that irritates me most actually, because they will try and put you on a driver's seat, knowing that they've already done some crime.
True. How do you handle such people?
No, I mean it is you have to handle diplomatically sometime, because in an organization you can't run alone. You have to take the people together with you, and that's something as a philosophy I know that. So I take a buying with most of the people who are working under me or are working with me before taking any big decision. But of course you have to tolerate these people.
have you ever been a mentor to another aspiring leader? How did you go about establishing that relationship?
To couple of people who worked with me, in different organization. Today also, so they keep discussing with me in every problem whenever they face in their organization as of now. Couple of people are working with me and couple of people are working in different organization by now. So those people have lead to the, to as of now heading some or other position in some organization. So they keep consulting me on everything, I mean in their life, either personal or professional, and I try and help to the extent possible because you know that person very well, and in some situation how he will behave, that I can predict very easily. So I am able to provide that solution, and also because I worked in a different industry and handled different situation, and that again give me a courage to help them these guys.
Now, were you any time in your career, you had to do a job of a leader, but you didn't actually have the title of being a leader?
Correct. So that situation occurred twice actually in my life. One is in Thomas Cook, when my boss left and there was no one for, the finance controller left and there was no one for 1 year. And I was working for my position as well as his position for 1 year time. So that was a temporary gap arrangement, of course. And the second situation arose in Radio Mirchi, when my CFO went for a 3 months learning program in Harvard, and I was on a driver's seat for 3 months.
Okay. So that must have been a huge...
Absolutely, that gives you a lot of courage that time, lot of support from your own team, lot of you get opportunity actually to demonstrate that you can do it.
True, interesting. What do you think is the most difficult part of being a leader?
People handling, of course, because and especially the youth which is coming up now. I mean, nothing because they are very tech savvy. They are they want results very fast, right. And that irritates you sometimes because every situation cannot be the same. You have to sometimes time can be aggressive. Sometimes you have to be lenient. Sometimes you have to spend time to get the results. But people, especially the youth, don't want to wait for all those things. They will jump the job for some small consideration, maybe for few thousand rupees here and there, right, without waiting for a next opportunity level which can come at the existing organization. Sure. You feel that you are putting a trust in somebody, and that person after 1 year comes and tell you, okay, thank you very much, I am going now. Right. So that's something I feel is very challenging as nowadays. Because the youth, don't want to put a sincere efforts, and they want to. Everybody want to have a maybe Mercedes from day one.
True, I agree with you on that one. Okay, how do you measure success for you as a leader?
My measurement on a success, I would say, is my satisfaction level, what I am doing in the organization. I don't believe in getting results overnight. So while few things has to be attained on a priority, but one is that you can always plan each and everything and do it in a better manner. When you finish the task, you will have much more satisfaction, and this is what I feel is something as a leader I am doing.
Okay, what do you think is a leader's best asset?
People.
Okay.
Because in our business, as I told you, is the people is the asset actually.
Absolutely.
And if you are able to create a second line and third line for in your own department, in your own organization, that's an asset for you.
True.
Because I have seen in my own department, the people who joined with me in last 5 years has not left the company, only because they feel a confidence in me and a lot of trust in me.
If you had to deliver bad news to your team, how would you go about doing it?
Sometimes you have to be diplomatic and sometimes you have to be straight. It depends on the situation, what the news is actually. So based on that, you can handle the situation. I mean, you have to deliver, there is no option. But I don't wait for a one fine morning to deliver this news. This is something unique to my own department in the company, where I do a rating of a couple of talented people on a quarterly basis, and they know on a 0 to 10 scale. So they know where they stand. If they get down, they immediately come to me and say, how can we improve that part?
Right.
So I think that is part and parcel of the business. So people know that where they stand in terms of the ranking, and a bad news, they all know that. I mean, it's a simple calculation. If you are below the 5 or around 6, of course, it's a bad news for you. But if you are around 9, 10, it means you are doing well.
What do you do to remain engaged in your conversations?
It's an open door policy. So I keep talking to all the colleagues as well as my team members on a routine basis. My team sits just outside my cabin only. I mean, so we have 50 people, but the leader sits immediately next to me. So even whenever I open the door and when the door is open, I just call the person. I mean, I don't even wait for a time to fix up or for a meeting time or some leisure time. I just walk in, walk out.
So like you said, it's a mix of formal and informal, blend of both.